What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you what I did at the Headwaters Lake, what I looked for, the baits I used, and what I think you should know before you go to the brand new Headwaters Lake in Fellsmere, Florida. So if you haven't seen all 4 of the videos, there's 4 of them in 3 days. We had to break 1 day into 2 days because the place was just epic. I mean, this place is amazing. I'm actually going back there next week too. Those videos are going to be coming out couple weeks from now because I got a few videos from the Thanksgiving week as well. But there's really 3 main baits I want to talk about, and those baits are what made this trip. It was, again, an incredible place. If you want to go there, if you haven't been there, I suggest it. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Best bass fishing I've ever experienced. So I'm gonna hop right in. I'm gonna show you the first bait, and we are going to do. So we're gonna start out with my favorite thing that we did, just because I love this form of fishing, punching. The punching setup. So what I have here, punching is basically you're going through this thick matted cover, you know, thick big time hydrilla or hyacinth, whatever, and there's stuff all over it. So my rig for punching over there, I went with a 2-ounce Woo tungsten. I got a 4/0 flipping hook. This right here is a Gambler burner crawl and blue tip, but the real MVP was these Y-knots and blue tip. So these, we caught a couple on these, but the Y-knot, the blue tip Y-knot was clutch. I mean, caught the majority of our fish punching, literally almost every single one. Caught the first one, I think, on this, and then another one after we ran out of 8 packs of these. I mean, it was nuts how many fish we caught on these. In fact, one thing I do want to mention while I'm on this Y-knot thought, it's just the Y-knot to me is just another version of a bait that you can flip anything, whether you're punching with it. It's so good. Let's get this thing out of the pack. So this was actually the key bait. Burner crawl did work, but on the 2-ouncer, our most key bait right here was this black, blue tip Y-knot. But this bait was the punching ticket. So the setup, 2-ounce Woo tungsten, 4/0 flipping hook. We pinned it twice because when you're flipping these 2-ounce weights, you need to use double bobber stops. It helps so much. The line, my favorite braid, my favorite heavy braid, Cortland silent flip. This is 65 pound in black. You can hear the difference when it comes off your reel. It's silent. This stuff is awesome. You know, I like to think that this gets me more bites because you can hear it silently go through the mat, come off your reel. It's strange. I like throwing it on top water too because I feel like it makes a little bit less line noise on the surface of the water. The rod was the beef stick. 8-foot, extra heavy TFO tactical bass. And this rod put the work down to him. Man, we didn't catch an 8-pounder out of a mat, but we caught plenty of fish out of really thick cover. If you don't have the right gear, it's tough to get stuff out of that. I mean, this is the beef stick. This thing is sick. I'm flipping using a 7.2 Shimano reel. I like a 7.2. A lot of people like, you know, the higher ones, you know, more flips, faster in, out, faster in, out. I've gotten hit a lot when I'm starting to pull it out of the mat. And sometimes I feel like it's because I have that slower reel. I don't know. Listen, I like how this reel also feels on this rod. To me, it just really evens it out. So I haven't changed it. But anywhere above, you know, a 7.2, 8.1, I have a 9.3 that I do punch with sometimes, and that's when I know that they're going to hit it on the fall. They're going to hit it on the fall. I'll switch to that reel because I know if they don't hit on the fall, they're not going to eat it. But that right there is the punching setup, and we did a little thing that too. So we got this out of our Monster Bass box, this liquid mayhem juice. Listen, I've never used scent before. Gambler already has some fantastic scent. So, but maybe the combination of the two, I couldn't tell you if it helped or if it didn't help. All I know is whenever I'm punching out, I'm putting it on a lot of my baits. We ended up putting on a lot of different things. I got out of my Monster Bass box, and what's cool about that is Monster Bass subscription box company. Awesome company. Sends you fantastic baits and sent me this. I'm not used to using any type of liquid attractant or liquid scent, added scent to my baits. And I would have never bought this stuff before. They sent him a Monster Bass box. She said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. A lot of fish came out of it. Guess what? Monster Bass has this also on their shop. Went to their shop, loaded up on it. This stuff's gonna be in my boat all the time. Guarantee you're going to see this in my next Headwaters video. You're going to see this in my next video. It works. I don't know. I don't know if it just worked, if it was just a fish there. We're going to eat it regardless. It worked for me. I liked it. But that was the punching setup, and that was day 2, part 2. If you did not see that video, I'm going to make that pop up above my left shoulder right now. Click that. You want to see some punching action. But guys, we're going to move on. So the setup I was throwing the most, chatterbait. The chatterbait right here. This was kind of my key setup the whole time. Throwing a Gold Shiner 3/8 ounce Jackhammer chatterbait with a mean green Gambler Easy Vibe on the back of it. I did add a little bit of this scent on day 3 just because, but it did not need it the first part. We did not use it on the first part of day 2, but literally you want to see this bait go to work. Day 2 part 1 right there. Day 3 right there. Click on them. This bait was sick. Also, the links to all the videos are gonna be down in the description, so you can click on them after this too. But this bait right here was money bait for me. You know, the Gambler Easy Vibe gives a nice paddle tail to it, fits it perfectly. Really just a perfect size bait in my opinion to put on a jackhammer. And this mean green color, I use it on every chatterbait. It matches perfectly with this Gold Shiner. I use it on my green pumpkins, I use it on my whites, I use it on my, you name it, the green shad, the green with the white bottom. I use it on everything. This color is a trailer that I go for. Because to me, this is such a versatile trailer. It can represent so many different things. Great trailer, great color. This bait was the winner for me. You know, I threw it a lot. Matt threw the burner worm a lot, which we're gonna get to that in a minute. I threw this a lot. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'd let it get in the grass and I'd rip it out. The fish would come up and smack it. I mean, just straight up annihilate it. You want it to get in that grass a little bit so you could rip it out of there and just say it would inhale it when they'd hit it. Throw it on 16-pound fluorocarbon. Throw it on the TFO Tactical Elite 7.4 medium heavy. This is actually their cranking rod, but medium heavy. It's got enough backbone where I can still get big fish out of grass with this thing and still rip it out of the grass well. This rod, if you want a chatterbait rod, if you want a rod that you're going to use for chatterbaits, this is the best rod for chatterbaits I've ever used, by far. I mean, I've used some different rods since the chatterbait came out. This thing is it. I mean, this is it. I've tested a lot of different rods for it just because I love a chatterbait so much. This thing is it. Throwing it on a 7.2 gear ratio Shimano Scorpion. And yeah, this setup was sick. So when I'm throwing this bait, I was really looking for, you know, we were in grass that would be, you know, 2 or 3 feet, you know, sometimes even a foot below the surface or even less. And there'd be top areas where it's topped out, and throwing this bait in that open water area over top of grass was it. You know, you'd want it to get snagged a little so you could pop it. As soon as you popped it out, you'd feel a fish hit it. I mean, you could see it in the videos. You know, especially day 2, you see it a lot. Day 3, you see it a few times. This thing, you know, you wanted it to get caught and then smack it out of the grass and fish would eat it. This bait was just awesome for me. We looked for, you know, that grass that was in that 6 foot grass that was a couple feet below the surface. That was our kind of our key stuff. If you saw a little channel that was made from topped out grass, I'd toss that thing in it and it was getting bit. This bait, I'm serious, was just it. This was it for me. So, but now we are going to get to the real MVP now. The real MVP of the entire trip. Basically because it caught the biggest fish. Maybe the most fish, I don't know, between the chatterbait and this. One of them caught the most fish. But that, my friends, the Gambler burner worm. This is the 6-inch Gambler burner worm. The most versatile bait there is. This is the most versatile worm. You know why? This is actually not in the color that we were throwing, but very similar color that I'm probably going to throw the next time I'm there. This is JB Blue, a June bug, blue tail. Love this color. You're going to see in my next video why I love this color, because this one kicks butt in the next video. But I'm throwing this burner worm right here on 3/16 wood tungsten. We got a 4/0 EWG hook. Matt was throwing on a 5/0 in his video. I've got it pinned to it on 15-pound fluorocarbon. and throwing it on a 7.3 medium heavy TFO Tactical Elite. This is like the best all-purpose rod, the 7.3 TFO Tactical Elite, the MBR models. This is the best all-purpose rod, best worm rod to me on the market. Thrown on a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio Corrado. And this is my setup. It gets tough, you pick up a burner worm. Let's put it that way. It was not going to get tough on Headwaters. When it gets tough though, you pick up the burner worm. And this bait was sick. So actually one thing Matt was doing, was he was actually taking this thing and he was throwing in those holes, those areas where I really couldn't get the chatterbait. You'd see the topped out hot drill and there'd be a hole and he'd toss the bait in there. And this bait, you can do anything with it. You can just straight reel it in, it's gonna catch fish. You kind of work it like that chatterbait, get hung in there and rip it out. Matt was actually picking it up and dropping a lot. Picking it up, dropping it. Kind of keeping it moving, never really dead sticking it, and just every once in a while he would do that. Never really dead sticking it though fully, but just kind of pick it up, reel up the slack, pick it up, reel up the slack, pick it up, reel up the slack. And he was picking it up, what that bait was really doing, you know, it was climbing up those grass parts. You know, if this line's coming through here, it's climbing up the grass and it's dropping on the other side of that tall grass into a hole. And those fish were just munching on it. I mean, he was adding this on day 3. You don't need it though, really, for this. I mean, the gambler burner worm, it just straight up catches them. He was throwing in June bug. We caught some in Copperfield. We caught some in Watermelon Red. My personal favorite is the June bug one. This JB Blue is a color I like when it's a little bit more stained water, because I don't know, blue tail gives me confidence about it. But we were really trying to look for those channels. Again, I was using the chatterbait in, but he was really picking out those holes where really just this could get and not a chatterbait. The only thing in Texas we could get to. We caught some fish on day 1 in the wood on a burner worm. So this bait, honestly, if you're in Florida in general, you gotta have a gambler burner worm tied on. It catches fish. It's a great search bait. It's a great bait for finding fish, great bait for catching big fish. It's a great bait that you can just go through packs of in a day. To me, this is the best rig for it. 3/16 out blue tungsten with the 4-aught EWG, 15-pound fluorocarbon. You can throw it on straight braid. You can take a weight off this thing. You throw it on top water. You can do anything with this worm. Up north, I like to cut it down short, turn it into a Ned rig. My next trick I'm going to throw you, hopefully in a video soon, Nico rig this thing so that tail gets some fluttering action. But guys, this is seriously the best bait for the job. If you're fishing grass, especially in the state of Florida, you got to have a burner worm. You pull it through it. I'm telling you, it will get bit. This is my favorite bait. So guys, one other thing I want to add on, like the techniques that we use there. So anytime you're fishing grass, in my opinion, whether it's grass you can see, grass underwater, you want to find differences. You want to find those points, those valleys, those channels through the middle of it. The way I kind of think about it is, think about like let's say you're coming from up north in the Lake Kiwi, Lake Hartwell area. You know, you never really fish grass, but you come to Headwaters. Think about as like the points that you see on Lake Hartwell, you know, a main lake point, a secondary point. There's those same kind of points in a grass flat kind of area. You know, you get on that line of grass, there's those same points. That grass that's on the surface, there's those same points, and those fish will set up on those just like they kind of set up on a point that's clay and pea gravel and all that stuff up on Hartwell. They will set up just like that, and you kind of want to pick out those points, pick out those valleys, and that is where you want to kind of focus your baits. Finding those points, those peaks where you can present a bait in there is really, I think, the key to getting your most bites. And it's the same when you're punching too. You know, you find a point out from the normal hydrilla, that's where you want to make sure that bait gets in, because there's going to be a fish in there. You're looking for some type of difference in grass, whether you're fishing a burner worm, a chatterbait, punching it. You want to find something that makes sunspot different, makes those fish want to key in on there. So the other thing I want to talk about too is Headwaters, just the lake in general. So I had a couple questions on it. A lot of people asked me where was I fishing in it. We caught fish all over the lake. I mean, from the southeast to the northwest. I mean, we caught fish anywhere we went. Really, I mean, you find grass. That's what you need to do. You need to find grass that you can actually fish that's not topped out. That would be my suggestion to anyone that's fishing. I mean, we literally caught fish everywhere. Southwest, northeast, just anything. But you know, at Headwaters, there's only a certain amount of parking spots. You gotta kind of get there early so it doesn't fill up. We never really took the risk and got there later, so maybe you can get in a little bit later. We didn't take that risk. Yeah, it's a really nice boat ramp. Really nice little facility there. No trash cans. Don't leave your trash there, please. We want to keep that place nice because then you're going to keep the lake nice. You know, you leave your trash around there, it's going to get in the lake. Don't do that. You see some trash in the lake, pick it up because that's just the right thing to do. Good juju is like I always like to say. But then there's the S Canal, I think is what it's called, that leads to the main lake. I want to say it's like a mile and a half run to an opening, and then I think there's another opening a little farther down. An opening on your left, and there's an opening on your right. The opening on your right takes you to the main lake. I believe there's no fishing in the S Canal. No fishing allowed in that canal. I did have a question from a kayaker saying, would you put in at that boat ramp? We saw plenty of kayakers actually putting in there. I don't know about the place where they launch at Stick Marsh, like necessarily where it's located on there, or how long you have to paddle till you're in really good fishable water. But you got a long ways to paddle to get out of the S Canal. So if you're paddling, I'd probably stick at Stick Marsh personally, just because you got that long thing. But I don't know, you know, you might put it at Stick Marsh and you have to paddle 2 miles to get to anything good fishing wise anyways too. So that is also a possibility. But that would be my suggestion for the kayakers, is probably Stick Marsh, unless you want to change it up and fish a different portion of the lake. Just be prepared to paddle some. But the lake itself was just topped out hydrilla all over the place. You wanted to find those canals, so really Google Earth is what we use to navigate the channels, because you could see them better on Google Earth or Google Maps. You know, if you just do some type of Earth view on there, you're going to be able to see those channels from the Earth view to navigate through. But guys, if you haven't been there, I highly suggest you make a trip to it. It was a fantastic experience. But yeah, if you haven't seen all those videos, links are in the description. Thank you for watching this little breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps you in your experience at Headwaters Lake. I hope you get an opportunity to go there. It's fun to travel around. It's fun to go experience new things. But thank you for watching this little breakdown video. We will see you guys later. Peace. Maybe that didn't look cool. So.